At the end of book 2, we saw Aang get shot down by Azula and basically die. Luckily, Katara brought him back, but Aang was still unconscious for the next few weeks, and then all of a sudden, at the beginning of book 3, we find the team on a Fire Nation ship in Fire Nation armor, and find that Sokka and Katara's father, along with a few others, have joined their team. So how did we get to this point? Well, this was actually answered in a tie-in comic, and it tells an exciting adventure between books 2 and 3. So in this video, I'm going to fill in that giant gap in the plot and explain this great adventure. Before we start, I make new videos every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to make sure you never miss a Movie Flame video. Now let's get started. Part of this was answered in the show. After Ba Sing Se fell and they escaped on Appa, they knew they had to get Aang to safety, so they flew to Chameleon Bay where they found the Water Tribe, including Sokka and Katara's father, Hakoda. Here is where the tie-in comic comes into play, and it's from the point of view of Katara. They lay low with the Water Tribe for a while, but they knew they were running out of time. The Fire Nation would find them soon, and their ships could barely sail, let alone fight. Katara felt that without the Avatar, their future was bleak, and she was very hard on herself when it came to healing Aang. She began to doubt her healing abilities when Aang just wouldn't wake up after hours of her trying every day, and she began to have no faith in herself. They had escaped Ba Sing Se with the Earth King, but he left them after a short amount of time to travel the world, which wasn't a heavy loss, and to be honest, him leaving might have actually helped them, as he would just get in the way. They eventually found the Duke and Pipsqueak trying to steal from their ship, and after being caught, the two joined their ranks and became surprisingly helpful. One day, Sokka and his father got into an argument, Sokka saying that the whole point of going to Ba Sing Se was to gather an army to invade the Fire Nation, but his father told him that because the city had fallen, he was afraid there was nothing they could do, and before he finished his sentence, Sokka bleakly finished it for him, saying they were giving up. Sokka then told his dad that he was not going to let that happen, and to Sokka's immense shock, his father told him that he spoke like a true warrior, something that made Sokka swell with pride. A few days later, they spotted a Fire Nation scout ship, and they knew it wouldn't be long until they were outnumbered 4 to 1. It came down to this: if they were going to survive, they needed a plan and fast. They realized they couldn't fight them because they'd be wiped out, and Katara added that they had to protect Aang because if he was captured, the whole world would suffer. To make sure this didn't happen, Sokka came up with a plan saying that they should join the Fire Nation. After people questioned him, saying they couldn't switch sides, Sokka replied saying all they had to do was switch boats. Katara thought it wasn't the craziest of Sokka's plans, but it was one of the riskiest. They got off their ships and rowed away on rowboats. They then had the waterbender splash the ship around and then had Toph finish the ships off, destroying them. They then abandoned their wrecked ships, letting the Fire Nation think they'd already been defeated, and they took their rowboats to nearby land, and there they waited. While on land, Katara had some built-up resentment for her father, and she refused to sit by the fire with him. This was due to the fact that she had some bottled-up anger because he left them as kids, though this plot point would not be brought to the surface until the start of Book 3 after Aang woke up. Just as they had planned, the Fire Nation found the abandoned ships, and they sent word to the Fire Nation fleet that the Water Tribe had been dealt with. The Fire Nation ship that found the wreckage planned to take credit for the Water Tribe's downfall, and as they celebrated by drinking and eating, the good guys planned their attack. They all wore masks, and in the dead of night, they boarded the Fire Nation ship. Before going up, Katara felt guilty for leaving Aang, and told Toph that she shouldn't be there, but should be back with him. But Toph responded, saying that right now they needed her, and that Aang would be fine. Toph then added that if they pulled this off, Aang would have a safe place to recover. As they got on board, they expected a fight, but they instead found the lazy Fire Nation soldiers eating and drinking. Sokka jokingly said that Momo could take them, but this stupidly alerted the Fire Nation soldiers that were ready to fight. Katara took a few of them out with her waterbending, and her father took some men down, allowing for the rest of the Water Tribe soldiers to throw stink bombs, hence the good guys' masks. With the distraction of the bombs, Sokka and Toph took a bunch of them down. They eventually captured all of the Fire Nation soldiers, and Katara was in disbelief that they had pulled this wild plan off. They took the boat to the land they were on before, and after taking their clothes and armor, they dropped the tied up Fire Nation soldiers off. Now having the ship, Sokka recommended they go back to Serpent's Pass, and from there could cut across the Earth Kingdom and head west for the Fire Nation. Unfortunately, he did not have the Fire Nation barricade on his map, so when they got to this point, everyone except for Sokka and his father were worried. The two of them, however, had a plan. They hid Appa, and Hakoda convinced the soldier at the gate that they had defeated the Water Tribe and had orders to head west to rendezvous with the fleet. They successfully got through, but as they did so, the soldier at the gate informed them that the war was almost over because the Avatar had been killed in Ba Sing Se. This made everyone super upset, everyone except for Sokka, who was actually happy about this. When Katara asked why he was happy, Sokka said that this was just the break they needed. Katara eventually realized that Sokka was right, and that Aang's supposed death worked to their advantage. And even more, no one suspected them to be living and hiding as soldiers of the Fire Nation, another great advantage. Hakoda figured out the best route they could take, and said that they might actually survive this experience after all. The team knew that living like this would take some getting used to, but Katara said that if they had gotten through the last few days, they could get through anything. They just had to keep on fighting, and be confident that soon, the Avatar would return. Katara continued to heal Aang as much as she could, desperate for him to wake up, and eventually, all of her work paid off, because not too long after that, Aang finally woke up. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You can follow me on social media to see more of my personal life and see more of this little dude. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook for Movie Flame updates. And I want to give a huge shout out to all my patrons listed below. If you want to be featured in the next video, plus get a bunch of other rewards, become a patron today. Again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you press that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great videos on the way.